you're a fabulous actress. There is no doubt about that. There's never been a doubt about that. But you could have done much more. You could have done many more films. I mean, you entered cinema at a time when Hindi cinema itself was taking a new turn.
But it was by choice. Like I said, I was so unambitious and laid back in some ways that it wasn't that I have to prove. Like sometimes at a friend's party, if you dance and someone says, but you dance really well. They almost think it, like you probably haven't tried Bollywood because you are hesitant, or it is sour grapes, or there has to be another reason. How can you not want to do it? After 13 years of work in films, I still get asked, why wouldn't you want to do commercial films? Like, have you tried? Like, have people approached you? They still can't think that it could be just a simple choice. I mean, it's just about wanting to live a certain life, wanting to do a certain kind of work, you relate to certain kind of films. But yes, I mean, sometimes you think the films that I do, and I've done half my work is in regional films.
That's right.
And much of it isn't sort of out there. I mean, the last film that somebody in Delhi, Bombay would know would be a Hindi film, which has been a while ago. But I've done a Malayalam film or a Bengali film or a Kannada film or a Marathi film that people wouldn't know. But does that mean those films don't exist? Does that mean those stories don't need to be told? Does that mean the audiences in all these other states are unimportant? So I mean, it's a question. I don't know. It's for each one to answer. That for me, I'm a completely journey person. So if I've enjoyed the journey, it's good enough.
When I was coming to interview you, somebody said, Nandita Das is the journey that Konkona Sen began out in and took a leap and went into mainstream and balanced out. And Nandita Das is, I mean, Konkona Sen is a choice that...
she's still where she was.
No, not where she was, but it's that mainstream choice that you did not take.
Yeah, but like people say, well, even Shabana Azmi did commercial films. Why don't you? I mean, what's your problem?
And so did Smita Patil.
And so did Smita Patil. And so did everybody that I know, and each one to their own. I'm not judging their choice. I'm not judging people who have done only commercial films saying, why don't you do, other kind of films? I mean, I'm saying that there is space for all of us.
A lot of people just want to see more of you on screen. I mean, it could be as simple as that.
No, I mean, I would also like to do, but not at the cost of compromising on things that... I have done a couple of films which would be seen by a mainstream filmmaker as an aberration of the mainstream. Whether you call it Aks or Pita, or some people even think like a film like Earth. Yes. There are people who think of it as art cinema because there was me and Deepa and all of that. There are some people who think it's commercial cinema because there's Amir Khan and there was music and all of that. So it's where you're coming from. What are you looking at it with? Which lens are you seeing? But like I said, I've just done things that I've believed in, and it has been a satisfying journey. Of course, it could have been in another way. I mean, I wish there were more films and more filmmakers, and not all good films come to me.
You wrote in the article that I read, that you wrote for The Week magazine, that the Children's Film Society of India has 250 films, reached about 34 lakh children. 34 lakhs still in a country of 1.5 billion seems like a tiny drop.
Right, but still in lakhs than
thousands, yes. But one of the problems of children's cinema in this country is that it's not children's cinema anymore. It's like television serials, again something that you write about. It's not children's programming anymore.
It's like family entertainment, which is, in a way, grown-up entertainment that is also kind of includes children. And I think that's why we need to focus on entertainment that is actually for children, which is value-based and all of that. But what you and I might think of as children's film, the children who are growing up on a completely different diet may not even relate to it.
One of the things about the children's film movement seems to be the lack of the corporate support that mainstream cinema, for instance, has got.
Right.
It's just, in some senses, it's just the money.
And there is a demand for it. There is a market for it. So I'm wondering, where is that gap?
Right.
Why aren't people wanting to do it? I mean, if you see in Hollywood, there is all these Harry Potter and much of the Superman and Batman and all of these big budget films are actually catering to children. So what about the Panchatantras that we grew up on? Is it too archaic? Do the children not relate to it? Is there a way
to reinvent it?
Exactly. Is there a way to reinvent the Amachitra Kathas and Panchatantras or even contemporary stories, adventures, thrillers, where the message is not hammered and it's not preachy. At the same time, it's not just frivolous and fluffy. I mean, there has to be a way that you can amalgamate it without sort of putting a teaspoon of everything, but actually, organically sort of build those stories. And I think it would happen, and there are a lot of filmmakers who are wanting to be part of this movement. I'm already getting calls, whether it's Vishal Bharadwaj, or whether it's Nagesh Kukkunur, or whether it's Gulzar Saab, Shyam Benegal, a whole lot of people who are saying, okay, now you're there, let's do something together. So I think it needs that energy, and I'm hopeful that, educators, filmmakers, writers, people from the media, parents, teachers will all put in their bit.
Okay, my last question.
Yes.
When do we next see you in a film? And if you were to make another film in the time, in the India that you live in today, what kind of film would you make?
Well, there's no dearth of themes, and that's why I don't have one pet cause, because I think you can't compete with causes. There are hundreds of things, but it doesn't have to be a cause-driven film either.
I think a lot of people believe you would only make a cause-driven film.
Well, if you see Firak, I don't know whether you've seen, by the way, the DVD is out, so if you haven't watched it, while it has an issue, I think if people just watched Firak as just a film, wherever I've seen it, wherever I've seen the reactions, people have connected with the characters and the stories. Stories about guilt and stories about identity, stories about love, stories about friendship, about betrayal. These are just basic human emotions. I think the genre that interests me personally is just human stories. It could be a story of a man and a woman. It could be a relationship story. It could be a story about a father and a daughter, or whatever, So I haven't really decided what the next one will be, but whenever that is,
whenever it will be, I'm sure it will be wonderful. Thank you very much, Nandita Das. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.